Dr. Kashey, you mean the decisions I make have consequences?
No! Feeling deprived sucks. Feels even worse when you feel like you're the only person who has to pay attention to what you're doing and it looks like everyone else just does whatever they want. And that's true, but it also reflects in some things you can feel and see. And it can make a person quite bitter, especially because whatever you need to do to continue to make progress seems boring as hell in comparison to everything else. Melodrama abound. It can certainly feel like you're stuck with tuna and twigs while everybody else is swimming in pools of Alfredo sauce. And this can lead to obsession over some foods when you're not eating them, when you're sleeping, feeling irritated when other people are eating the things that you want to eat. There's a couple red flags here. One is that it might be difficult to moderate the sorts of foods you do like to consume. Secondarily, if you've completely eliminated or prohibited yourself from consuming foods you do enjoy, then it makes it more irritating when other people are eating foods you like. And by default, completely restricting everything you consume to foods that you don't like. Yeah, that seems pretty miserable to me. You may feel deprived because you really have disadvantaged yourself, being unnecessarily strict and having unreasonable expectations. You may be depriving yourself. No wonder you might feel that way. And in certain circumstances, even if you do have access and can eat the foods you enjoy, you may not be enjoying them anyway because you can't have as much as you want whenever you want, however you want them. That's exhausting. This is definitely the perfect storm for pigging out. Foodgasms and all that. You can have a plan to incorporate the foods you enjoy in moderation. If you're feeling particularly cranky, take a moment and reflect a little bit. Are you being unnecessarily restrictive? Are you putting unreasonable expectations on yourself? Because if you are, then you really are deprived. Now, if part of your cranky pants is coming from the fact that you can't have exactly what you want when you want it in unlimited quantities, well, that's just called entitlement, and you shouldn't be afraid to throw down the hammer there. This begs the question, what is the cost of consuming everything you want to consume, especially when you want to consume it in unlimited quantities? What is the cost of moderating your intake to keep progressing in the direction of your intention? Which one is going to increase the quality of your life on average over the long term? Are you going to go through moments where you're cranky because you don't get to have everything you want? Absolutely. If you eat with reckless abandon and consume anything and everything all the time no matter what advantages are you depriving yourself of if you stayed on plan? Remember why you're doing this. Is that a price you are willing to pay? Letting go of some foods and some quantities now, or completely castrating any future potential for progress in the future? Oddly enough, you're going to be disadvantaged either way. You're going to feel deprived either way. If you don't deprive yourself of all the food and drinks and goodies that you want right now, you deprive yourself of the potential benefits you get of staying on plan. If you decide to not deprive yourself of all the tremendous benefits you get from staying on plan, then you are deprived of all the goodies that you want at any given time, at any given quantity. Since you're going to be deprived either way, you have to now weigh out your options. Which would you rather be deprived of? This pity party is further amplified when it feels like, or you convince yourself that the only person that has to pay attention to what they consume and everybody else can do whatever they want, at least in terms of food and drinks, with no consequences.
Must be nice, huh?
That's a flat out lie to yourself. Just because other people don't care about what they eat or drink does not mean they don't have any consequences for it. Maybe those consequences are worth it to them. Maybe they're struggling just like you. Maybe they haven't realized what they're doing to themselves just yet. In any case, their business is their business, not yours. And the way other people behave has nothing to do with the choices you make or the goals you reach or the benefits you gain. You aren't the only one that cares about what you consume. And just because other people don't care what they consume does not mean they don't get the consequences of overconsumption. At the same time, you don't know what other people's activity levels are. You don't know what their goals are. You don't know what their metabolic rate is. No two people are the same, so making those comparisons are what a scientist would call erroneous, or in lay terms, apples to oranges. If you don't have to maintain the mindset that you want to make progress, you have to give up the things that are hurting you. I mean, you may not be able to get as much of the things that you want at any given time all the time, but that's just being responsible regardless of whether or not you're trying to change your behavior. It's just responsible in general, no matter what. Having that sort of mindset is probably what keeps bringing you back to the situation to begin with. So if you're feeling like you're disadvantaged, you might be. Make sure that you check yourself before you wreck yourself. Some of that might be because of the perspective that you have. If you're being unreasonable with yourself and unreasonable expectations, you have disadvantaged yourself. Now, if you have disadvantaged yourself and have unnecessarily restricted foods or for any given reason, unnecessarily, you now have the option to reincorporate these foods in a moderate way. However, if you do, you may have to operate with the understanding that your progress may not be as fast as it could be, and that is okay, so long as you are okay with it. It doesn't have to be all or nothing all the time. Just because you can't have unlimited amounts of foods that you enjoy doesn't mean you can't incorporate some of them in moderate amounts. Also remember that you're going to be disadvantaged either way. You're either not going to be able to consume unlimited amounts of the foods that you enjoy all the time, or you're not going to be able to reach the goals you want to reach and any other benefits that are unforeseen when you follow a plan in the long term. Which would you rather have? Not a rhetorical question. Think on it. This is not about good or bad bad or right or wrong. This is about making decisions that get you closer to your goals or further away. In order to do this, and do this in a way that's successful, you have to be a little semantic. You may have to change your perspective. You may have to redefine some terms. What is normal before is what put you in the position you're in now. So changing what you feel is normal right now will save you a lot of headache later. Comparing apples to oranges, compare apples to apples. You are not them, they are not you, and you are not the same person you were, and that's good.